Hello everyone, welcome back. It's finally time to get some closure on those Terra Mystica videos that came out a month ago. Some of them anyway. We're now, it's the very beginning of July, so we're halfway through the tournament season, and my games are very nearly finished. They've all been progressing at a pretty similar pace. Um, Two of them finished today within an hour of each other, believe it or not, over the scope of a whole 2 months. And another one is completely decided. We just have to finish playing out the moves to finish maximizing score. The fourth game, we're still just starting round 6, so it'll be a little while, but maybe a week, maybe less. I don't know. So I'll probably mix these videos together with the bridge videos, alternate or something, so that we have some Terra Mystica to look forward to for a while, rather than just getting all the videos out of the way right away. Anyway, so I'm going to do them in the order that they finished, like I did last season. If you haven't yet watched the faction selection videos, you might want to go back to the beginning of this playlist and check them out. Let's see, this is the game in which I was third player. That's right. I was just so surprised that Engineers and Witches were the first two picks. They're both perfectly fine factions, but generally Darklings are a safer first pick. And furthermore, Witches are like Engineers' most bitter rival. You don't want to have them both in the game because they tend to fight for third and fourth. It was kind of weird, actually, because near the end of the game we had a bit of chat with the other players, and the Witches remarked that they thought it was going to be really hard to manage second after Engineers had been picked. And from that, I just kind of was like, oh, I guess it must have been Witches and then Engineers were picked. But no, it was the other way. You picked Witches into Engineers, and then you're like, oh boy, it's going to be really hard to even get second. I don't know, maybe don't pick the Witches then, right? There are good reasons, Town in round 6 is pretty sick for Witches. Anyway, so I picked Darklings. No compelling reason not to, really, was my main argument. I did later remember reading something on the forums when I was kind of reading through what's every faction good at, how should I pick my factions. One of the things mentioned is that when Witches and Engineers are both in the game, they're just fighting all the time. We sort of talked about why that is in the past. And furthermore, that cultists are especially well suited to capitalize on the aftermath of that war. I still don't 100% understand why that is, but I think the point is that there's these nice juicy brown squares right in the middle of the towns that green and gray are going to be fighting for. Here, 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 here. And you can easily build a town here, for example, this way if you have to. So I think it's the cultists can very easily be right next to those two factions, kind of egging them on. So maybe I would have done better to choose cultists here, actually. And I think the fourth player might also have done a good job to choose cultists instead of nomads. But I don't know, nomads seem fine. I don't remember if I think in the faction selection video we did not cover initial placement, right? Yeah, because I hadn't even seen what the fourth player was going to be. Although I thought they would be cultists, I think. This was a month ago, so forgive me if I don't remember everything. I'm still not this is my first game as, I'm playing Darklings 3 times this season, but those are my first 3 Darkling games against humans. So I'm definitely not an expert at playing them. I think I lean a little bit too heavily towards the double Eastern Continent opening, because it seems kind of cool to look, it's so cheap to get, it's so easy that there's space for 2 towns. You'll have the Engineers being your friends on F6, and you can just build around them. They'll go this way. And then you can connect up your shipping here without having to get any shipping, and you'll have an okay but fairly small network. On reflection, maybe I might have done better to place one of my structures over here or here. Like, this is also a very popular Darkling tile. This one's fine, but a little bit hard to get to 4. For tiles. You know, here you only need 2 digs to get 4 tiles, and likewise here, which is quite nice. Here you need at least 3 or more than that if you want to include this, which would be nice to get all the leech from these guys. But I don't think it's insane to go here. I figured, like, engineers would probably be on this tile, or maybe this one, or both. And maybe if not, then the witches would be here, and either way, I would have the neighbor. And in fact, the engineers and witches built E7 and E9 first. That's right. So I knew the engineers would be here and witches would be here. So I was like, okay, this is fine. I can take E10, and either the engineers will join them, and I'll have like a lot of excitement over here, or they won't, and I'll have a perfectly friendly relationship with the witches. They want to go this way. Maybe that cuts me off, so maybe I stop them, but maybe I let them. It's not a big deal, because they would provide me with a lot of leech going through there. But I had to place the second dwelling without knowing where anybody was going, so I tried here. I don't know. Here might have been okay. Might have been good, even. I don't know. Yeah. Because after I had seen the Nomads place their first 2 dwellings at that point, right? I know we're going forever on like placement. I'm just trying to like reconstruct. They built G4 and E8. Yeah, E8 and G4. So if I built E5, I don't know whether I would be like winning or losing the race with the Nomads for E6. Because it'd be great to pen them in here so they can't get a town easily. But, you know, they're not like the biggest. Well, they kind of are the biggest threat because we expect engineers and witches to blow each other up. So I don't know, maybe it would have been better to go E5. But at any rate, initial placement is over. It's kind of weird that like when you're playing the game, normally you're always the one who shows up in slot 1. And it just like moves the start player marker. So it's a little jarring to see myself down here. The Nomads grabbed the dig action, which is perfectly fine. I took the priest because it's like a dig and 2 points. And cultists just generally love priests. Did I talk at all about what my plan was here? I bet I was planning to dump a bunch into Earth early. Because you get points for spending priests in Earth. Later you get spending priests anywhere. Later you get coins for it. And a typical Darklings opening is like trading post and then temple and then like pass and try to get your sanctuary. So in the meantime, there's not much use for your priests to dig because you don't have the workers to build anything. And that would be a good excuse to spend priests on Earth. I think I remember actually choosing this and being like, great, now no one else will have a priest. I'll be guaranteed to get the first Earth slot, which will get me super high up there, lots of coins. So let's see what happened next. The first 3 players to act all built a trading post. Probably everybody is kind of like, I don't know. Earth 1 is a very attractive tile in many games. And here we're even getting Earth payment early, so that's nice. And so I don't think it's the case that this always happens, but it is not a huge surprise to see the first 3 players build a temple on turn 2 and all of them take Earth 1. There are cases where you don't have to do that, or when you can be fine without Earth 1, but it's usually not the worst plan in the world. The Nomads, on the other hand, immediately dug out F5, which is kind of cool, because I was like, oh, I would love to dig F5 myself and stop this incursion into my continent. But I, wanted to prioritize getting that favor tile, right? So I didn't have time to do this yet. And indeed, oh, not quite. Yeah, so given that the Nomads didn't build a trading post, they're not actually threatening to take Earth 1, which means the rest of us don't have to build a temple right away. The Witches did, but Oh, I uninstalled the Chrome extension that was giving me like fancier, like what was recently done up here. Because it also, like, I spent an hour trying to track down something that was making noise on my computer, and I found out it was that Chrome extension telling me I have a turn to play. And you can turn that off, but it's like, I had turned it off on one computer and it was on another, so I was just like, I don't need this stupid extension. Get out of here. I never want to have this experience again in my life. Anyway, so what did I do with my second action? I took workers. The worker action. Interesting. So maybe I am hoping to use my priests to dig, now that I've got the opportunity, to get a couple key hexes with dwellings on them, right? It gives me a lot. Getting 2 workers means I can actually perhaps build 2 dwellings this turn, although it's going to be tough to come up with the workers for the sanctuary next round, which... Oh, no, this is the game where sanctuary was in round 3, so I decided to delay building my sanctuary, even though as the Darklings you usually want to get your stronghold or your sanctuary out by turn 2. It's like their sanctuary is one of their strongest features, and you want it as early as possible. I think in this game I wanted to delay it till round 3 because there was profitable stuff to do along the way, and you get points for doing it then. It feels a little bit bad, but so I think I must have been planning to build some dwellings with those workers. We'll see. Now the Nomads have built a trading post, which means that if the engineers and I want Earth 1, we do have to take it now. And indeed, we did that. The Nomads followed up with a trading post. And the Witches, who already have Earth 1, and by the way, started with the shipping bonus, decided to plop down a dwelling here. Right? That's kind of the point of the shipping bonus, is to get to put down a bunch of dwellings in round 1. Lets you really get your engine started fairly cheaply. It's preferable to do this when there's actually dwelling scoring in this round, because then you don't even need to build the temple. You can just like plow down a bunch of dwellings and worry about everything else later. You can, I think, have 8 dwellings, or at least 7. Yeah, you could have 8 if you wanted. Oh, look, it's my turn. Well, we're not going to look at the other games in this video. The Nomads finished up with their stronghold. Like, you know, Earth 1 isn't available to them, so they want an economic approach to the game. And the stronghold provides, like, a lot of digging power and also some, like, power. So it's a pretty common Nomad thing to get early. And in particular, if you can't get Earth 1, there's much less downside to getting it. And they start digging in through here, and I'm like getting a little bit worried that they're going to take away spaces I need. Like, I would love to cut them off from getting to G7. Why did I dig H7 and not build? Trying to get a bonus tile from somebody, maybe? Or trying not to give up my bonus tile? That doesn't seem right. I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, I think I was trying to avoid giving the engineers leech. Probably, right? Because wouldn't they love to double dig or something? Maybe? And I just wanted to make that a little bit less pleasant for them, so I delayed giving them the 2 power. I'm not sure how much they would love to double dig, but they probably would. Anyway, what happened after that was that I then actually built and the Nomads took the shipping scoring bonus tile, which is exciting. It's not clear like what for. It had a coin on it and 3 power, I guess, is the main thing. I would have been inclined to take bonus 7, but maybe they have a use for the power in mind. And I did build another dwelling. Ah. Yeah, I decided to cut off the engineers. I'm not sure why I was so, like, worried about them. I guess part of it is, like, I can't cut off the nomads because I don't want to prematurely connect up my two prospective towns. And if I don't connect them up, the nomads can always just plow right through me and get to G7. So what's the point in trying to cut them off, right? Might as well cut off the engineers to make sure that I have plenty of space over here. Okay. So we got a lot done in round 1, right? We got a temple and 2 dwellings. And what bonus tile am I passing with? Not the engineers, because they're, I assume, still playing. This one seems reasonably promising, right? It's got a point. It's got a worker. It's got a coin. It might have some points, depending how things go. I do feel a little bit bad about spending my priests to dig early when I could have gotten more spades out of them on round 2. But getting the economy going with workers seems pretty important. So, like, in the early rounds, you really should generally focus more on your economy and not on getting, like, a couple points from the scoring bonuses. You want to build a big economy so you can get a ton of points from scoring bonuses later, ideally. So the one that I took was the dig. Interesting. Ah, the engineers took this one first. No, the engineers took the shipping bonus. I took the dig. Oh, sure. I mean, dig's worth extra points right now, and I only have 1 priest to dig with, and I'd love to build more dwellings. That seems fine. I was like, oh, the Darklings don't like the dig because they have priests. But, like, I don't actually have that many priests right now, and I'd love to dig some more, so sure, seems fine. And you get coins even. How nice. So how do things stand at the end of round 1? I'm up on points. That's nice. You know, my income is okay. It's not amazing. Some of the engineers have a ton of coin income already. Oh, that's from this. That's where all my coin income is coming from too. Yeah, but the engineers really rocketed it up to step 6. 6, huh? They sent a priest. I wasn't really watching what they did. They must have done that last round. Yeah, they took the priest power action on the second round turn, so that they could get a priest into Earth. Okay, fair enough. What order did these happen in, by the way? Who built F7? The Nomads are before me, so they built G6, and I got 2 leech. And then I used my spade to dig F7. So the idea, as I think I already communicated to you, is to, like, build a small number of structures, but make them very expensive structures. In this is my plan in this game. It's not the only way to play the Darklings, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to expand out of this area. You need like 3 shipping to get to here, basically, or 2 to get to here, which is not even really solving your problem yet. So my plan was to, you know, grab another scoring tile or favor, maybe 2. Try to really cash in on this trading post scoring round, and just build like a bunch of trading posts and temples, basically, and only connect up to finalize the towns at the end. So I don't remember why I mentioned that, but that's like just overall what we're trying to do here. And now I've secured D8, which means no one can take E11 from me. No one's likely to take I11. It's 2 digs away, but that's like kind of fine. I'll have plenty of priests eventually. And if absolutely necessary, I can make this a sanctuary town if I had to. Well, no, because I want to build a sanctuary in round 3, and I won't be doing that early. Nomads complete their first town already in round 2, which is like, Nomads are good at doing that. If there's a town scoring bonus in round 2, that's kind of a reason to pick the Nomads. I think I'm not sure how good a reason, but they are a lot better at doing it than other factions, I think. Just because their stronghold produces so much usable land, I guess. And also has structure power level 3. So it doesn't take that much to finish off a town. And they grabbed a priest, which seems fine. Priest is generally a good town. What did I do here? Oh, I passed. Yeah, so after just this, I did almost nothing in this round, right? I built 2 dwellings and passed. I think my idea was to get back the priest tile again quickly, which has a coin on it now, which is nice. And passing early means that I will be guaranteed the coin power action in the next round. I can't take it this round because it's already gone. I do have enough power, but I just can't take it. It's not there. But since I want to build a sanctuary next round, I'm going to need 10 coins and 4 workers at least. We only have 3, but good news, there's a way to get 7 coins. It's like generally a strong action to take, is to take action 7 coins for 4 power. So round 2, I had relatively unambitious plans. Just keep the economy growing a bit with a couple dwellings, and then next turn get the sanctuary. Hopefully, turn after that, build a bunch of trading posts. And with the sanctuary, we can take Water 1 to make those trading posts even better. And like what I would really love, my dream, would be to take the trading post scoring bonus tile as well. Where is it? Here. At the end of round 3. It seems a little bit unlikely, but it sure would be a dream, wouldn't it, to be building trading posts for 8 points each? I would like that. So that was kind of what I was kind of hoping to do in this round, was just advance things a little bit, pass early to make sure I can get the coins I need next round. And, you know, the other players did some stuff. The witches and engineers seem to have figured their stuff out. The witches have this kind of town area, and here a bridge will be fine. They can probably sanctuary this up. Engineers can connect this. They can go here, maybe bridge here. It's not clear yet what the Nomads' plan is. Are they going to try to make 3 towns, you know, here and here, or are they going to do something else? Who knows? But they're definitely the economic powerhouse so far in this game, right? They're behind on points, and in fact, we're quite a bit ahead. But they have the capacity to make more points, hopefully for them anyway, in the coming turns. That's kind of the trade-off. When you don't take Earth 1, you get more economy, and you're like, oh, I didn't get the 22 points from Earth 1, but you kind of hope to accumulate a similar number of points just from doing more of everything. It's now... And when I passed, the bonus tile that I took was this one again. I think that was the same one I had in... No, I didn't have that in round 1. I had the priest, that's right. And in round 2, I had the dig. So did I get any points when I took this out of curiosity? Coins, yes. There was a coin on it even, so that's great. You get a coin, you get a worker, you get some power, and And now I don't even have to burn to take this action, although not that it's a huge deal to burn power. It's just nice not to have to. And this gets us up to well into the territory of having enough money to build a sanctuary. Plenty of workers, by the way, left over. Which I could use to, like, with one of my priests to build a dwelling. But remember, I want to make these very tall structures, and I don't want to have 4 dwellings, so I can stop them from becoming a town. So I think I actually float the workers till next turn for more trading posts, I assume, right? Anyway, I get my sanctuary. Engineers got theirs too. I don't know, was it in the same turn? No. Oh, yeah. God. By the way, I think all of my games this season also had a player drop in them. Maybe one of them didn't. I thought that by getting out of the bottom division, we would get into a division with players who like play all their games. But in round 3, the witches dropped, and this actually, I felt at the time, was very bad news for me. Obviously, it's bad news for the witches. But I was counting on the witches wanting to build D7 at some point soon so that I could get a bit more power. I don't remember exactly what I wanted the power for, but I suspect... No, I do remember. I'm taking a very, very short round 3. Right? I'm basically just building the sanctuary and then passing again. And I'll actually, it looks like, be able to grab the trading post scoring tile with 3 extra coins on it. And that's like, when nobody took this bonus tile in the last round, that was when I said, I think I'm going to win this game. Because I'm just going to have an absolutely disgusting round 4. And I couldn't see anyone passing out of round 3 before me, so this is kind of locked in. But it would be really nice, really nice to be able to spend 4 power now and 4 power again next turn, which I'm just 1 power short of doing. And since the witches had recently dug D7, I predicted they would want to build here, and I would happily give up 2 points for 3 power to get still more coins in the next round to fuel my trading posts frenzy. But they dropped from the game, so I didn't get it. Big bummer. Where were we? Have I passed yet? What have I done so far? I took my sanctuary, and then I passed. That's it. I took 7 coins, I built, and I just got out as fast as I could to make sure I got the disgustingly good bonus tile. And the other players, like, I don't know, they did some stuff. Playing around on the cult tracks, sure. And here we are in round 4 now. I'm first, but I can't take the power action. It's so sad. Look at me. Imagine if I had 11 coins. How many trading posts could I build? Like, at least 4, maybe even more. If I could squeeze in a temple as well. Like, if you could get... Yeah, that's a good question. Suppose that I had gotten 3 more power as I planned. I would have access to 5 total power, right? So that's 8 coins. I'd have 12 coins. That's just 4 trading posts. Which costs 8 workers. So I'd have like 4 workers left over and not much else. Yeah. I mean, I'd have some priests, but... Well, I mean, if I turned all the priests to workers, I could build a temple and get Air 1, but that's actually costing me 2 points for not having the trading post anymore. That's only gaining me 3 for like having Air 1 at the end of the turn, so I don't think it's that big a deal. It's just like I would have really liked to not have... I end up building 4 trading posts this turn, spoiler alert, but I have to do some gymnastics to get there that I would prefer not to do. If I just had 1 more power, it would all be so much easier. And indeed, predictably, someone else does take action for the Nomads. And what do I do? Did I send a priest or something? Did I dig? I must have sent a priest to water. Oh, cash in the... both to cash in the 3-step, and also just like, hey, now I have enough power that I can take action 4 if nobody else does. But of course they did. So we start building trading posts. And that's basically the whole turn. You know, how did I get them? They required a little bit of work. The first 2, I had enough... Well, the first 1, I had enough coins, I could just do it. The second one, I needed to turn 2 power into coins. The third one, I had to burn 2 and convert 3 power to coins. And then the fourth one, I had to turn 3 workers into coins, which, like, ugh. Especially given that I've just turned all my dwellings into trading posts, it feels kind of bad to throw away 3 workers. But this is just such a grotesque turn that I think it's worth almost any trade-off to build a trading post right now. And as you can see, I just barely squeaked through. And I think at this point it started to become interesting to look at what bonus tile I would get if I passed, I think. Yeah, with a Sanctuary Stronghold scoring round coming up, I think it would be kind of nice, maybe, to build a stronghold down here, because of course up here it would finish the town, which I don't want. But I just don't have enough workers, right? I have 4, which is what it costs to build a stronghold, but the Darklings stronghold effect is to turn workers into priests. And if you have 0 workers, it's a pretty shitty stronghold. But I think what I was trying to ensure that I get some tile, some bonus tile, and I don't remember which one I wanted. Actually, I think I want this one, right? Worker, power, coins. 3 coins and a priest is also fine. I don't know. What did I do? I just passed, and I took a coin, a worker, and a power. Sure. Workers are pretty critical now that I've sold all my dwellings. And yeah, the engineers got a round dig, I guess, here from having... Oh, they got 2 digs, right? Where did they put them? One went here. Oh, red is 2 steps away from brown. It has to go through yellow. Got it. And so my 5th round is a little bit like... I don't know. I don't have a lot of direction here. I can't build any dwellings or I'll get a town too early. There's not a lot of upgrading left to do. I don't want a stronghold. So I think what I did is build a couple of temples, maybe even just 1. Making sure I still have enough trading posts to provide the coins I want next turn, but giving me, like, I don't know, air 1 and maybe water 2 would be kind of cool to take here. Water 2 seems a little bit overly defensive. But it does help a lot in securing the water track. And it'll give me 2 cult steps in unrelated cults. One of which will be nice just to skip the witches, who I know are never moving again. So I bet that's what I did. I bet I built those 2 temples. Did I get... I got action 4. Okay, sure. But then a temple taking air 1. I sent a priest to fire. Oh, sure. Yeah, I actually have so many priests that if I build more temples, I'm going to have trouble. Oh, I remember. This was actually a point that I felt bad about later. The order in which I do stuff in this turn. Like, I kind of had decided I didn't want to build a second temple, I think. But I still have to get rid of some of my priests, or else I'll waste them going into the last round. And sending them to the cult track doesn't actually get rid of them, unless I send them for one, which like kind of sucks. So what? So I have to like do some stuff to get rid of priests, but sending them to cult tracks is kind of optional. It doesn't really accomplish anything to do it now versus next turn. But using them to dig these 2 tiles is something I kind of have to do this turn, or else waste the priest, which maybe sometimes wasting the priest would be the best compromise. But in particular, like for controlling the tempo of when I pass out, when I get to grab a bonus tile, you would prefer, if possible, to have taken all your mandatory actions first, so that you can delay your optional actions if you get a chance to get the bonus tile that you want. And in this case, I think I imagined myself as fighting the engineers for the bonus tile I wanted. I don't remember why. I think it did eventually come up. Like, the engineers and I were definitely the last ones in this round. I might have wanted the Nomads bonus tile, because I mean, you expect to be able to have 4 trading posts at the end of the round, right? So that's another 8 points, which seems cool. So I sent a priest to fire, another priest to fire, and then I was like, oh no, like, what if Nomads pass and then Engineers pass, as seems like a totally plausible thing that might happen? I forgot to spend my priests. And as it happens, the Nomads did pass, but the Engineers hadn't passed yet. I later realized they have the same problem. They have 2 priest income, but only 1 priest slot. So I could pass and waste 2 priests, but get this tile. Or I could spend 2 priests at once on I-11, and then the engineers have to choose. Do they waste a priest and get the scoring bonus tile? Or do they spend their priests on something, I guess, like, not even clear actually how they're supposed to spend their priest. Send it to a cult for 1, I guess? It might not be worth it for them, honestly. But, you know, in the worst case, say they get this bonus tile, I get a pretty sick bonus 8, right? Like, Darklings do not often get to get a bonus tile that has 4 coins and a priest on it, right? Usually you're grabbing this yourself earlier, but I had more important stuff to do, and apparently nobody wanted priest at all this game, so this is still here for me. It's pretty juicy also. But being as it's the last round, I'd rather have the 8 points, thank you very much. 8 points and a worker. So I spent all my workers, or my priests. Oh yeah! I didn't dig I-11, I dug H8. Because I need another place to build trading posts. Oh, and I did actually squeeze in the second temple. Right. Because compared to... Oh yeah, I wanted Fire 3. I wanted to kind of rocket past everyone and lock in the Fire Cult. That was the idea. It's maybe sort of questionable, but okay, it seems fine. It's going to be really hard for anyone to push very hard on Fire. And 3 trading posts at the end of the round scores as well as 2, so why not? According to Air 1, anyway. And this way I get more priests next round. But, of course, that was kind of what led me to the problem of having so many priests I couldn't afford to pass. So I just... Oh, it also meant that this bonus tile with a priest on it doesn't do anything for me, so the upside is not as good as it might seem. I don't know what I would have done if the engineers had taken this. But actually, they didn't take it. They dropped from the game. They ran out of time. So they made it all the way to the end of round 5, but finally some real life pressure caught up with them, and they just could not continue playing. And so now it's just me and the Nomads, which is kind of a sad game. I did get the bonus tile, but the Nomads had kind of a, I don't know. Also, by the way, before we look at this round, let's just note, like, all the players are doing pretty cool stuff, right? This town is finished, but otherwise nobody's built any towns. And we all have 6-sized things ready to be finished or connected up. You know, the engineers have sufficient power already. They just haven't connected, which a bridge will be easy for them. I have, you know, places I'm ready to put a dwelling. The Nomads have a 6 here and a 6 here, so they're definitely going to get to finish 2 towns. Either by taking Fire 2 to complete both towns at size 6, or else just by like building a dwelling here and a dwelling here. Oh, they can't do that. They don't have enough dwellings left. I wonder then if it might have been better to build E6 instead of E5 in round 5. Then you can just put a trading post here instead, and you can build a, which by the way gives you points because you grabbed water 1 at some point, right? Yeah, and air 1. And then you just need 1 dwelling to finish this town. I don't know. Seems a little weird to me that they did it this way, but maybe they didn't want to give the engineers leech or something. So beginning the next round, am I player 1 again? No, I'm player 2 this time. Right, the Nomads did get out first. And I assume they're taking a high value power action, perhaps the coins? Yes. And I just start cashing in towns so I can get to the good ones. First of all, I took H8 just in case the Nomads wanted to like make it hard for me. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. They're not ever gonna like sandstorm here just to mess with me, but maybe they would. I don't know. I didn't want that to happen, so I just dug and built and grabbed the priest town. I also wanted to get to the towns I wanted quickly. The priest town is especially good for like pretty much everybody, really. It's just like a lot of points and a valuable resource, especially in the end game where a priest can be worth can easily be worth 4 or maybe even 8 points on the cult track. It's only actually worth 4, but if you can take 4 away from your main rival to gain 4 for yourself by passing them in for the number 1 slot, then it's kind of like getting 8. So that's a very valuable town. I just wanted to make sure I got it. And then the Nomads finished both of their towns at once by building a temple for Fire 2. I don't really understand why. It seems to me it would have... Well, okay, we saw that it was hard for them to build the trading post. I guess that's why. They kind of got stuck. They could no longer build 2 dwellings, and they can't build a trading post cheaply. So they took Fire 2. I don't know. It also, though, like... By the way, I don't know if I've ever seen someone move so many steps on the cult tracks in a single turn. Like, it's almost impossible to do so unless you're the Chaos Magicians and you're taking 2 actions on a single turn. They gained... Look at this. With that single turn, they got 20 points and 7 power and 14 cult steps. Unbelievable, right? They took the 1 step in each cult and the 2 steps in each cult towns, and they got the town bonuses. It's just like, what a turn. That really improved their projected score, although of course the projected score is not really a meaningful estimate when there's a bunch of important stuff left to do. But I do seem way, way ahead, so I'm not really in any danger. It's just like, wow, I thought that they would not be competing much on the cult tracks, and they just shot up 3 on every track and 5 on Fire all at once. And I was like, oh, I guess even with Fire 3, I'm not winning Fire, huh? Well, that's good to know. So I just made this a trading post. My idea here was I really wanted to... There's only a couple things left for me to do. Like, I can build 2 dwellings, and I can do stuff with my priests. Some of them have to go to digging, like about 3 of them probably, here, here, and here. But I could maybe like not dig with one of them if I can get an especially good priest cult track step. But what I wanted to do was delay taking my second town for as long as possible to find out whether the cult steps would actually help me or whether I should just grab town 8. Where is it? Here. Just take the 11 points. You know, if these 4 steps are going to gain me less than 3 points, I should just take the one that's worth more. And so I wanted to take the rest of the turn as slowly as possible to make the Nomads finish up their actions first. And we just sort of like played stuff out, you know. What were the Nomads even doing? They were doing something. They took a power action, I think? Yeah, they advanced shipping because they have the shipping scoring tile. Then they grabbed another priest, right? Yes. And then they still haven't committed to actually advancing shipping or not. They just wanted to do a terraform to pass a turn, basically, and make me start committing to stuff. But I don't have to commit yet. I can start building now. I'll build here first, and then here, finally committing to a town. And what do the Nomads do? Man, I really got to reinstall that Chrome extension. Getting to see up near the top the most recent action is way nicer than having it at the bottom. They built another temple to grab favor 6. What is that? That's water 2. Yeah. So that passes me on the water track as well, and threatens to do more stuff on some other cult track. So I finally decide, like, okay, look, I'm 1 step behind them on 2 cults. I also have water 2. No, I don't. But I have a priest. So I decided to go with the cult step town. I could no longer delay building a town, so I built this one. And now, you know, the Nomads can spend 1 of their priests. Oh, hang on. They actually had to do their thing before me. They sent a priest to Earth. And so now I'm like looking well behind on Earth, but 1 step behind on fire and water. And I finally said, okay, they're only going to get to move on the cult track 1 more time by spending their favor tile. So this cult step catches me up to them on at least 1 of these. Maybe passes them on 1. And that's giving me 2 points, but taking 2 from them, so 4, which is better than digging. And furthermore, it's better than the 3 points I could get by taking a different town. So I went ahead and took that. They advanced on fire, and I spent my last priest gaining another 4 points margin against them by gaining 2 and taking away 2. And I also got some more power by that, which is like useful in the resource conversion stage, except it isn't because I only have 2 resources. So there you go. We got a nice solid win. Beat them by 39. 161, a very respectable score. Kind of weird to have done that with like only having 6 structures going into the last round, right? But we built really, really powerful structures and maximized scoring on most of these rounds, including the last one. So I feel pretty good about how I played this one. Maybe a few little things I could have improved, but overall a strong game. And Sam took second. Oh, let's look at the final. Yeah. So Sam took second, and these 2 players who dropped out got 3rd and 4th. I forget, there might actually be 1 game that Assel Donkey is not yet dropped from. I don't remember. Yeah, also getting 12 points for network despite having a maximum network size of 5 is like, well, of course you get a high score if you like get to build cheaply because you had many neighbors and got leech from a bunch of neighbors in the early game, but then they quit and didn't fight you for the end game scoring. Of course you're going to get the high score. The Nomads didn't, but it's kind of rough for them because they didn't. I mean, 130, 122 is like it's an okay score. It's fine. It's not embarrassing. You see scores like that even in Division 1. But it's like they had a tough time not getting Earth 1, which is like a really common and simple way to score a lot of points. And it feels kind of bad that like in a 4-player game, they ended up playing a 2-player game where they didn't have access to Earth 1, which like sucks. So I don't know. So we're not going to take a look at the leaderboard because it has spoilers for the other games that have finished. I guess since it's still my turn to move in 1 out of 2 games, well, that doesn't tell me anything. Probably the last thing I'm going to do is pass. I don't remember. Maybe I have to take 2 actions in that last game. Anyway, so like I said, we're going to space these out, maybe like alternating with the bridge videos in that time slot. So in probably about 2 days, which I guess is Saturday, is when I plan to do the Terra Mystica video for my second game. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I would welcome feedback either on how I could have played or how the video could be better. Aside from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.